this is what I can get out of this. This sham wow thing, that crazy chamois that absorbs everything. You know, it's this goofy infomercial. The budget of the thing must have been $25, but it saves you money. You don't have to buy paper towels anymore. It's good for your health because you can get rid of all of the germs in your kitchen. It talks to exactly what we're all trying to achieve.
Living more green.
Yes, exactly. Not going through and being wasteful with paper towels. So the reason why they're successful is they answer what's in it for me. So what I'm attempting is taking something that works every single day and moving it to the interviews.
How did this idea come to you initially, Rafe?
Failure. I was failing in my interviews. Nothing was working. I was following everything that I learned about in the books. I went to the seminars. I went to the websites, and nothing worked.
How much time elapsed before you said, it's got to be them, and then you finally said, geez, maybe it's me?
Probably after the 15th interview, after the 15th attempt to get work. Because what the experts will tell you is, well, you know what? It obviously is you. Because you're not working hard enough. Maybe you need to read 4 or 5 more books. Maybe you need to work harder learning this stuff. But no, it is not you. Because if you walk in with a strategy that's quite different than trying to cram into your head 15,000 tips, what to wear, what to say, you'll never get it right. You'll never remember them all. And then you'll curse, you'll kick yourself.
Especially when
maybe
you're allotted,
if I crossed my leg to the left or the right, because that's what they told me to do. Oh, that's why I didn't get the job.
Especially when you're allotted probably only 20, 25 minutes or so.
Right. You've got to go in there. And the same way that an athlete has to do a tryout for a team and an actor has to do an audition for a role, you've got to get in there. You've got to present your best stuff, but not your best stuff about you. Your best stuff about how what you have done will help them. And that's the key. That's the key.
Now, in your audio presentation, What's in it for me? Do you address how much information, how many clever ideas, how many ways that you can save the company money? How much information and how much of that can you give away for free before you can say, hey, well, here are my ideas. Here are a few of them, but it's going to cost you a job. You got to hire me before I can give you more.
That's a very good point. And what you want to do is say what you did and not how you did it. If they want to know how you did it, they got to hire you. But if you've got the stuff to show that you've done it, and when I say the stuff, you have to have facts, numbers, data, articles, reality, truth. You can't go in there on a cloud of mist. You know, so many companies and so many people, they think that it's all about just putting the perception out there and that will work. No, you have to go into an interview, especially in this economy, fact, 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 fact. You've got to be able to point to reality. If you can do that.
Have the empirical data.
Yeah, it's all about data. And everything can be made data-able. You can break it down into facts and reality for anything. And if you do that, then it pretty much becomes inarguable that you are the solution. And you're going to get that job.
What was the biggest thing for you in terms of making this mental struggle, this mental decision to change your whole formulaic mindset, the way you've been doing things for the last X amount of years professionally? How hard was that for you?
Well, it kind of fried my mind, Mark, because I had always thought that it was about what you've achieved. And if what you've achieved is convincing enough, and if it was true, then you would be able to excel and keep
understandably, because you're from that era, parents' older generation, where they had a job for 30, 40, 50 years.
Right. And if you did your job, and if you had the goods to prove it, then you would go far. Well, that's not what it is anymore. That's not where we are. And people say, well, you know, that's not the way it was 5, 10 years ago. It's not 5 or 10 years ago. And we don't know if it's going to be 5 or 10 years ago.
And it's going to be different in 5 years, I'm sure.
Yeah, right. So all of the old rules do not apply. This is upside down. So you either fight it and you get furious about it and torture yourself, or you adapt.
Rafe Gomez is my guest. My name is Mark Farrell. The show is Frequency on 101.9 WRXP, New York's rock experience. Now, Rafe, you're kind of a chameleon. You've reinvented yourself many times, and not that you've left anything in the past, because you're still currently a musician, a DJ. You have a nationally syndicated show. You have your rock alternative mix.
Rock mix. 2 X's in the mix of rock mix for twice the excellent rock.
Somehow I don't think that's the first time you said that.
Oh, that's my shower speech.
There you go. QVC presenter, etc. Do you find that nowadays and in the future, the more you can do outside maybe your pod of expertise, you're better off?
I think that, and this is where some of the folks who are at the upper levels of white-collar employment are most pained. They tended to think of themselves as their job. and they went from one accomplishment to the next, and they stayed on a very specific track. Here's what you major in. Here's where you go to school. Here's where you work. Here's where you get your grad degree, and you will be set for life. And they focused. It was a very specific focus.
And that formula worked for quite some time.
For quite some time. But now...
And still will work for a select few.
Yes. But now, that's been upended. So, what do? What do they do? They're saying to us, what do I know? What has happened to me? What has happened to my life? So, I think that while I've been going through all of these career changes and shifts, at the time, it's like, when will I grow up? When will I make my mind up, man? But it's actually coming to become beneficial for me.
Absolutely.
At this point, because I can speak about different aspects of what I'm trying to do from the different elements of what I've done in my career. So, and again, if I talk about this like me, it's a waste of my time if I'm trying to get work. But if I'm trying to convince someone to do something, I need to say, here's what I've done in the past, here are the things I've done, and here's how it helps you.
Well, it's an interesting point you brought up, because if one field of expertise that you are in kind of goes dry, which, things are very cyclical,
yes,
then you have other fields of expertise, and people say to themselves, well, geez, I went to school and I've been in one industry for all these years.
And people told me I was great.
Yeah, and I am great probably, but now I have to develop another skill. And maybe that's true, and maybe that's not true. Maybe your finances require that. Maybe you need to downsize, sell that, 1.5 million house of yours, or resize and revamp and kind of reevaluate where you are.
Well, you bring up a really good point. I have met a lot of people who have lost their jobs and it has not hit them yet. They're not changing their lifestyle. Yeah. They think they can, just a week or now, 2 weeks, 3 weeks now. And I'm going to
turn around.
Yeah. And maybe it will, maybe it won't. But my wife...
You still want to be ahead of the curve. You don't want to be, just looking at your checking account every week going, oh.
Well, they don't. They think that it's all going to be okay and they can just keep spending. But thank God for my wife, because
I said the same thing. Thank God for your wife.
Yes.
Mrs. Rafe.
Well, she is
lovely woman.
She's super cool, and she is brilliant at snapping us all into place. Because once things started going south, she said, okay, we're in lockdown. And she just took control over where our family finances were going. We had to unfortunately cut out activities for the kids. No more cable TV. The brand of the store brand versus what we might have preferred. No more going out.
Costco, baby, Kirkland.
Yeah, yes, right. But you know what? She created that strategy because it was a strategy.
It's sensible.
And we followed it, and it helped us. But here's the unfortunate reality. Even if you're spending less, if you are not bringing money in, you're still going to hit zero.
Of course.